Good morning. I'm here at the London Gatwick Courtyard Marriott Hotel. Today I'm flying on Air Transat to Toronto in Canada in their club class product. It will be an interesting flight. I think it'll be similar to my experience on Scoot before, and I look forward to giving it a go. First time in the country, first time at Gatwick for a long time. I've got to walk across to the South Terminal now because it's about 10 minutes from the hotel, and then got to catch the monorail over to the North Terminal. So I hope you enjoy it. Pop some comments down below, pop a like, and ask any questions, whatever you're interested in. Let's go. It really has been a long time since I last travelled on this monorail. I quickly scuttled off and headed to the deserted check-in area that had far more staff than passengers. There was a dedicated area for club class passengers where I quickly got served by the check-in staff who were friendly and helpful. Priority premium security is provided, which can either be great when the primary security is chocker, or it can be a complete waste of time. On this visit, it was the latter and made zero difference. So, before we go on, who is Air Transat and what is club class? Air Transat is primarily a leisure airline that is based in the French-speaking province of Quebec. They primarily existed to take travellers from the likes of Montreal to Mexico. After all, who wouldn't want to get away from the harsh Canadian winters? For Europeans, they are very much like TUI or Thomas Cook, rest in peace. Since then, the airline has expanded with a big presence from Toronto and offering services across the Atlantic to a fair chunk of destinations. I didn't quite realise how many dots on a map they offer, albeit many of these are A, seasonal, or B, relatively infrequent. So, on to club class. Despite the name, which many might confuse with business class in the UK, it is effectively their premium economy product. But, as you'll see in this review, some elements exceeded what you'd expect from a premium economy product. For full disclosure, Air Transat provided this flight for me to review for the travel website Turning Left for Less. I received no monetary compensation for the review, and they did not get copy approval of either this script or my original article. The first time they see this video is at the same time you do. Anyways, on to the rest of the experience. Gatwick wasn't particularly busy on this day, so I visited the club rooms with my priority pass. It's a nifty little lounge and was quiet at this time of day. And here's our chariot across the Atlantic, a full daytime flight aboard a narrow-body, single-aisle Airbus A321-LR, the most modern aircraft type in the Air Transat fleet, and I must say, looking pretty fresh in their white livery with blue tail fin. The club class cabin is in a 2-2 layout across 3 rows. Each seat has a pretty average 38 inches of legroom and are super wide at 22 inches, which the airline claims is one of the widest in the industry. The seats themselves feel more substantial than on many other airlines, and are probably more akin to US domestic first class than many international premium economy seats. Straight ahead, the Inflight entertainment screen is 13.3 inches large, which is bang on average for this class of travel. An amenity kit is so-called bubbles, and a menu was provided before departure. I certainly wasn't expecting a pre-departure drink in glassware on this flight. The lightly loaded flight then pushed away from the gate bang on time, ready to depart to Toronto in Canada. While looking out the window provides some of the best form of content and entertainment on a plane, the crew encouraged us to close the blinds, something I can seldom understand on a day flight that took off late in the morning. But if you did want to refer to the content, it was quite limited. Nothing was really attractive to me on this flight, although I did sit through some extremely poor acting in one film, but it is probably well targeted at the type of fly they're going for, infrequent leisure travellers. Qatar, Emirates, let alone most American airlines, have little to worry about in terms of competition here. And unfortunately, for you map nerds, the map was very basic and not interactive at all. I primarily used a touchscreen, but if you really want to make the experience significantly worse, you can opt for this remote control with a touchpad. Basic earbuds are provided for club class passengers, and judging from my expression, they were absolutely awful. These can also be purchased by economy passengers, but at least it comes in a nice little case. Elsewhere around the seat, we've got the manual recline function, which leans directly into the passenger behind. As well as an adjustable supportive headrest. A couple of device holders can be found between the seats, and also plug sockets at the centre. A large pocket is found straight ahead, with a small pouch to hold items like your phone and wallet just in front of that. On that amenity kit, and it is rather chunky, it's designed to be used on a return flight trip with a reusable tote, blanket, faux leather amenity kit bag, and Lockiden items inside. It is actually surprisingly good for a leisure premium economy product. The only downfall is that the eco-conscious side of reusability is probably let down by the fact I got another kit on my way home from Montreal. Hey ho. Around 90 minutes into the flight, we were served the first meal of the journey, as alerted by the in-flight entertainment. It started with a small bowl of snacks and a proper-sized can of Coke Zero. The primary meal was then served on a single tray, with the main salad starter and tiramisu-like dessert. I opted for the osso buco tender pork shanks, which surprised me in terms of how tasty it was. The only downfall? The amount of bone in that shank tempered my initial surprise at the portion size. Do you think that the meal offered is acceptable for a flight like this? Let me know down in the comments below. I finished with a coffee, which was purely of the instant kind. Disappointing, but not entirely surprising considering we are on an aircraft where space is certainly at a premium. I freshened up in the bathroom post-meal, where it was rather cramped but very clean. And just like that, I spent most of the remainder of the flight working on my laptop, albeit with no internet access offered by the airline, and watching downloaded YouTube videos on my phone. The amount of legroom, power outlet that had handled my 100-watt charger with a breeze, and plentiful snacks meant that this was a very comfortable flight. Only road warriors who need the internet access will find this a bad place to work or relax from. Prior to landing, we were treated to afternoon tea, consisting of some distinctly average sandwiches, but was saved by the presence of an excellent scone with proper Cornish clotted cream. That was a tongue twister. Safe to say that was a real winner in my books, and I really enjoyed it. So in all, how would I rate this experience? It is a really comfortable way to fly, but it's worth noting on my return flight from Montreal, which I didn't film thanks to it being a night flight with poorer lighting, but I actually ended up sleeping pretty much from takeoff through to landing. And I'm not usually like that on flights, but I found it comfortable enough to sleep in this seat. Yes, that was helped by having nobody in the seat next to me, but the whole fundamentals of this seat are really solid. Clearly, it's not competing with the business classes of this world. But with the airline offering competitive pricing versus Air Canada or British Airways, often at half the price, it is an extremely attractive way to get between Europe and Canada. If you're looking for a bit of extra room on your next flight with a distinctive upgrade from economy, this might be the trick you're looking for. The product is very good, and the staff, at least on my flights, were exactly what you'd expect from Canadians, nice and helpful. So where could the airline improve? For some, that might be the addition of Wi-Fi or slightly better timings on their flights from Canada to Europe, since there's not particularly good timings and they usually land around 9 AM, which means you can't get into the office for a working day. Equally, the service flow can be a little bit disrupted if passengers get up and down during meal service because there's only a single aisle. Though these are very minor and I am nitpicking, this is a great premium economy experience. Based on my 2 flights, if you're flying between Europe and Canada and you've got a limited budget, you should be trying Air Transat. If you want to taste some of my other flights, why not watch my review of Air Canada's domestic economy, which equally surprised me on the A320 aircraft. Or if you're in for something a bit more tastier or upper class, then there's Singapore Airlines Suites class. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy flightings. Goodbye.